the last time you laughed so hard you couldn't catch your breath? What happened in that moment? The tension in the room softened. People leaned in. Barriers disappeared. That wasn't just a reaction. That was strategy at work, whether you knew it or not. Think about the word strategy. Strategy means a deliberate reaction designed to elicit a specific outcome. So why do we use laughter as a reaction just as something that's funny? Why don't we use laughter intentionally? Laughter is a strategy. Neuroscientists at Johns Hopkins University has identified that laughter actually lights up the same region of the brain as creative problem solving and creativity. So it heightens our ability to think differently. How many of you have toddlers? Anybody? You've seen toddlers, you know toddlers, you've had the experience with toddlers, yes? Oh, yes. You've seen tantrums, right? Yes. My 3-year-old and I were at home and we'd had a long day and I asked her to do something for me. And she looked at me and she did this. I could feel the mommy kindness just slipping away. You know what I'm saying? So I looked back at her and I went, "Come on, let's river dance." And you know what she did? She laughed. In that moment, that inspirational thing that I just did by laughing with her, changing what I was doing what she did, changed her outcome, moved it from rebellion to laughter. It also created a memory that she has today at age 23, and she still recalls that memory. So I have learned that using laughter while we're going through our day can change any situation. And I discovered this from that moment. I didn't want a screaming toddler. I wanted to have a relaxing day. So I used laughter to shift the energy and to change the atmosphere. I've been using laughter in my career as an educator from working with students ages 3 to 83 for a long time, and using it as I toured as a comedian. And I've observed that there are two kinds of laughter. There is laughter that is automatic, and there is laughter that is intentional, and they both are very powerful. In fact, in an article written by R.I.M. Dunbar, published in the Philosophical Transactions of the Royal Society T 2022, Dunbar states that laughter is actually increases the endorphins in our brains and makes us think differently. It bonds us together when we laugh together. In another book by R.R. Provine, those guys are not related, he states in his book, Laughter, a Scientific Investigation, that it also brings people together like a social glue, bonding us together. I often introduce myself this way. By day, I'm your mild-mannered insurance agent. But by night, I do something totally different. And I do this because I do work as an insurance agent, and insurance is not funny, is it? No. You don't go get your bill out of the mailbox and look at it and go, you look at it and go. So I try to find things during the day to break up the monotony, to make the tedious of the day lessen. One day, we received an email. In this email, there were declaration pages. A potential client was sending them to us because he wanted us to quote his policies for him. Now, he must have taken those pictures, those declaration pages, and laid them on the floor, because when we looked at those pictures, there at the bottom of the email were his toes. His gnarly looking nasty toes. My team died laughing. We were laughing so hard we didn't know what to do. I looked at it and I said, well, I guess he does need a tow truck. Oh. And I know, I had to go there, right? My teammate looked at it and goes, oh no, he needs socks. Socks. We laughed at that for the rest of the day. We had puns. We were saying funny stories. We bonded us together for at least the rest of the day and the rest of the week. We still talk about it today. That's what happens when you come together in laughter. So let me give you 3 strategic ways that you can use laughter throughout the day. I like to call it TTR. The first, laughter reduces tension. Anytime there's conflict and you have a laugh, it reduces the tension going on in the room. A well-placed laugh in the middle of any conversation softens the mood and makes it able for ideas to rise up and new thoughts. And imagine if our leaders of today considered that. Another thing that laughter does is it builds trust. So let's say we're going through the day and we don't have any trust with what's going on. You can use the laughter to get to know each other, to share a laugh, and we start developing trust as we go. In Google's Project Aristotle, they identified 5 pillars that make excellent teams, and one of those was psychological safety. So when we laugh together, it says, I see you, I hear you, we're in this together. Another thing that laughter does is it builds resilience. When we laugh together in difficult situations, it's not that we're laughing at the pain. We're using the laughter to build it, to make it through the pain. You know, it's not every day that you wake up and you decide, I'm going to check myself into a mental hospital today. But that's exactly what happened several years ago. You see, I was going through a bad divorce, and it just smacked me in the face. I didn't know it was coming. And it caused me to lose my laughter. It didn't matter that I had kids. It didn't matter that I had a family that loved me. It didn't matter that I had a growing career. I thought to myself, if I can't laugh and bring joy to others, why go on? When you're in a place that dark, there is nothing that no one can do that can bring you out of it. I was in the facility. One day, we were outside because they did let us go outside and enjoy the outdoors. There was a large man out there. He had a bracelet on his arm. It indicated he was violent. I went over and I sat at the table. He came over and sat down beside me. Now, most people would have gotten up and ran, but I didn't. We sit there under that clear Carolina blue sky, and we talked. And we shared our problems. And we talked about why we were there, and we laughed, and we realized that we are not alone. A couple of days later, when I got home with my family, I thought about that laughter and that freeing power of how it felt. And that's when I realized just because we're laughing and we choose to laugh intentionally, I can do that, and it's going to help me get through the difficult situations in life. And that's how we come together as a community. Now, you may be asking, how can I incorporate laughter throughout my day? Well, I'm going to share some things with you, all right? The first thing you can do is curate laughter. And one way that I curate laughter is I surround myself with people that are joyful, because I know I am going to be able to laugh with those individuals. Another thing that I do is I make sure in my socials that there are more things that are funny than there is that are news, because that's not going to help me. I also collect things that are funny. At my office, I have a little bitty plunger sitting beside my desk. Oh yeah, because we need to plunge stuff every day, don't we, sister? Yes, we do. Another thing I do is I create laughter moments. I say to myself, I'm going to create my laughter today. I'm going to choose my laughter. I'm going to create my laughter routine. So one of the things that I do in my routine, there is a comic book store that I drive by to and from work every day. And this time of year, there is a giant skeleton up on top of that comic book store. I named him Bob. Bob and I have conversations. When I drive by Bob, I say, hey, Bob, how you doing? Looking a little thin there, Bob. He's very silent, doesn't say much. Another thing I do is I create songs. I make up silly little songs that entertain myself each day. I'll share this one with you that I created this morning. My Spanx are riding up, my Spanx are riding up. I know the dairy, my Spanx are riding up. You can borrow that if you want to. Another thing I do is I practice micro laughter. Now, micro laughter might be just little exercises, little things you do that make you laugh, nobody else. When you get up in the morning and you go to the bathroom, I bet you walk in there and you look like this. Do you? That's the face you make in the mirror? When I get up and go in the bathroom in the morning, this is the face I choose to make. How you doing? You're looking good. Yes, you are. And snap yourself up. Do that every morning because nobody else is going to snap you up. Do it yourself. Okay? Another thing I do is to create micro laughter for myself is I find my big belly laugh. And we all have a big belly laugh, let me tell you. In fact, when I do my big belly laugh, it's like this. I breathe in deep. And when I exhale, it is like this. So now we're all going to find our big belly laugh, okay? So we're all going to take in a deep breath and we're going to exhale and laugh. You sound amazing! Very good, very good. Yay! Give yourself a hand. Very good, very good. Yay! Do that tomorrow morning. So, here is, see, you're still laughing. Isn't it great? That is micro laugh. Keep doing it, sir. He's dying over here. He's dying. Yes. So here's the shift I'm asking you to make. Stop waiting for a break to enjoy laughter throughout your day. Start using it as a tool that shifts the energy, that bonds connections, that utilizes creativity and builds resilience. Because let me tell you, today, in a world that is so violent, in a world where we feel like we're being pulled apart, in a world where there's so much fear and we're making ourselves small, laughter is a radical act of hope. So remember, the next time something is happening and you want to give in, step back, laugh, because laughter is not a luxury. It is a strategy.